Hello everyone, welcome back to a new replay cast. Today we're going to be having a look at a best of 3 series played between, in the bottom left spawning as the blue Terran player Byun, and in the top right spawning as the red Zerg player it is going to be Solar, who has pretty decent CVT, but of course the real banger here is going to be Byun, who I haven't seen play a lot yet, so I'm going to be kind of interested in that. It's always fun to see these guys come back from the military, and of course in the case of Byun, I think he's gonna be one of the highest profile guys that comes back from the military, right? He was a BlizzCon winner, he had an amazing year, and then I mean, he dropped off a little bit, went into the army, I think a year and a half after his BlizzCon win, and now he's back, and from what I've heard, he's in shape, he's been doing okay, showing some decent form at least. And I'm just curious to see what he can do right now after being back for, I think it's been about 2 months now that he truly has been back. He was practicing already in the weekends, I believe, so it's not like he completely stopped playing, but I mean it's still extremely impressive to get back to this high level in such a short amount of time. A lot of people took a lot longer to get back. Now what do we have here? Pool after hatch, of course, coming out of Solar. Nice to see Byun just opening up with a I was going to say a standard Reaper opener, but we have a reactor first. It's going to allow for a couple of Marines to be built. I'm not quite sure what this is going to lead into though. It's odd. I actually am not sure. My knowledge of TVZ is largely limited to Hellion openers, and then I can read things off of gas timing, but I don't think I've ever seen a reactor first before, or I hardly ever have. He's opening up with a single Marine. He's still supply blocked. Second Marine gets built as well. Now, usually this is the timing for a second gas if we are going to see a second gas. Does not seem to be the case so far. No second gas. Okay, 4 Marines, so perhaps this is just going to be for some Overlord denial and then just going into your standard Hellion stuff. It's also possible it's going to be a tank medevac push of some sort, but if I'm thinking of positions, I guess this is a position where that might be helpful. You can kind of control this this ramp from the low ground. We see a second gas go down. Uh-oh. They're speaking Korean. I don't know what that means, but probably something. Lol, this build sucks. What are you doing? You've been away for too long. I think this means haha. 2 cars coming out. Oh, which strategy are you gonna do? See, Solar is just as surprised and confused as I am. He's like, wait a second, never seen this before. What is this garbage? No Reaper? This looks like a Hellion drop to me. Now, did Solar see the swap? I mean, he saw the factory fly. Armory, so... Okay, it's gonna be a Hellbat push. With 5 Marines, 4 cars. This is an interesting build. Cure had some really tight... Hellbat pushes actually the other week. Against Serral, against Raynor. Looked really good. I haven't quite seen those games or studied those games in depth, so I'm not quite sure about the timings of those builds. I think he did always open up with just standard Hellion play though. But this is looking super tight. 402, 403. This is gonna hit at like 420. There's not gonna be a Baning Nest. There's gonna be 4 queens. At least 1 more queen is about to finish. 1 more queen just started. So 5 queens. And this is actually gonna be kind of rough. Cloak Banshee as the follow-up. Ling Run By is being set up here. Hellions are rallied across the map, so that could be an issue. Spine is in position, which is good. We have a couple of transfuses ready, 3 to be exact. 4th not quite there yet. Good enough micro here coming out of Solar. Ling Run By is doing a lot of damage here as well, and we have 41 workers against 32 right now. 2 cars come back home, 2 of these SCVs go down. No, they don't. Solar not completely paying attention, and these 2 cars will clean everything up. Perhaps losing a Hellion? No. Good micro here coming out of good old Byun. He's now following it up, like I said before, with Cloak Banshee. Lair is on the way, there's no spores. 42 works against 34. For Solar, the goal right now is to get out a third base relatively quickly, or a fourth base, excuse me, and get that drone count up to 60, 62, 63. Make sure that he at least has full mineral mining on 3 bases. As Solar does get a full scout, he already had spores on the way, now just gets the confirmation, yes, these spores are indeed necessary, as he's gonna be playing against some Cloak Banshees. How many is there? Just a single one. Actually, Cloak got cancelled, and so did the second Banshee last second. Third CC goes down here. We're adding 2 more barracks. Stim is on the way already, and I guess another reactor being built with the factory, which will then swap onto this tech lab to start producing tanks. Third CC is really late. I mean, Spire is 1/4 of the way done already. 58 workers. Fourth base should come down soon here. I feel like Solar is a little bit too afraid of this pressure still. I'm not quite sure if he needed those banelings. Might just be nice to have him, but I feel like with queens and that spine, good unit positioning would have gone a very long way. Now, once again, we have Byun trying to move in, but yeah, just the queens. I mean, there's so many transfuses. These queens are never going to die. Double E-base on the way, and so are the double Evos. Big fan of those moves. Big fan of those moves indeed. Spire is about to finish up some resources in bank here for Solar, who is going to be taking a little bit of a supply lead once he starts those Mutalisks, and I kind of like that for him. Sure, he's going to be down in upgrades a bit, but I feel like he's going to have quite some control of the map and just a lot of momentum on his side here. Whereas Byun, these are the dying seconds of his pressure. You know, like this is it. He now needs to probably just piss off over here, go back home, you know, this is it, buddy. Your time has come. Your time to leave has come. And otherwise he's just gonna lose a bunch of Hellions, bunch of Hellbats, maybe even a Medevac here. I mean, this is 11 Mutalisks, that's a big deal. Fourth base dying is annoying for Solar, because after Solar builds these initial Mutalisks, what you want to be doing as a Zerg, you want to drone up to 75, 76, and then you build a bunch of units, so you can stop that follow-up push. Right now, just gonna go straight into units, probably add maybe a couple more Banelings, even though not completely necessary. No turret here yet for Byun. And actually, I kind of like what Solar did here. Instead of trying to clean up that pressure on his side of the map, he's like, okay, you just did some damage to me, I'm gonna do some damage back, and then I'm gonna come back home with the Mutalisks. So he's gonna try to get as much damage with these Mutalisks as possible. These Marines are gonna die. This is not enough. 2 Medevacs out of position, there's no turret yet up in the main. 2 mines, 1 does hit, 1 Muta does fall immediately. Lots of mining lost here though for Byun. Let's see how Solar is on the defense though. 2 sides are being microed at the same time, but the unit count is just a little bit too small here for Byun. I don't think he can do very much. He's gonna try another denial of this base, but now Mutalisks are coming back home. I think these two Medevacs are gonzo. Dunzo, adios. I love that 4 queens just hold off this army. Yeah, this is loses a Mutalisk in a bit of a sloppy move there. Gonna end up getting both of these Medevacs though. Should get a Medevac, yes, before it unloads anything else. 1k in the bank here for Solar, who is also up 40 supply. Fourth base is halfway done once again. And this time it's not gonna fall. Creep threat. The only thing truly lacking here for Solar, but I don't think it's gonna matter because Solar right now is morphing a bunch of Banelings. On the other side of the map, there's not that many units here. There's no splash whatsoever to speak of. There's 2 mines, and both of them are in the wrong location. Byun's gonna try to reburrow them somewhere as his factory is on the way. No fourth base yet. He has 1-1 upgrades, and Solar's gonna wait for his. 21 more Banes on the way as well, and here come the Mutalisks, here come the Lynx, and here come the Banes. I think this is just going to be it, honestly. We have 1 Baneling for every single Marine. Then on top of that there's Lynx, there's Mutalisks, so it's gonna be a very rough hold here for Byun, who is so far doing a good job with the micro, but I think there's still too many Banelings here. Mine gets taken out, turret gets taken out, which means these SCVs are most likely going to fall as well. Mutalisks will be able to clear all of these Marines, and with this mine drop, gets 1 shot off, the GG gets called. Solar wins the game after a pretty much perfect defense against the weird opener that Byun did here. So let's hop straight into game number 2. Alright, gangsters, here we are with game number 2 between Solar and Byun. Solar, of course, up 1-0, as we just managed to see in a previous game. Finished about 3 seconds ago, so here we are, Pillars of Gold. Now, a lot of Zergs love this map, and for good reason. It's difficult for Terrans sometimes to keep all bases alive. They usually take the forward third base. There's some nice angles from which the mutas come from. There's decent paths for counterattacks. There is a couple of cliffs which can prove to be annoying, but once the rocks are taken out, this is pretty much Zerg paradise. On top of that, this is the only map in the current map pool and that I can remember in the recent past that actually gives you more mineral income, or sorry, less mineral income in the main base than on any of the other bases, which means that the race that expands the fastest can kind of mitigate that economic damage that you get from it, which it sounds insignificant, but it makes the early game a lot less smooth for all the races, but Zerg has the smallest disadvantage because they tend to expand the fastest. So that's one of the reasons why Zergs, well, I don't think they consciously know why they love the map so much, but this is why they tend to win a little bit more on it. They think they have economic advantage here, and also, I mean, the counterattack possibilities are endless. There's so many paths, difficult to cover. And it's not even necessarily that small a map either. Combine that with the fact that you have a ramp, meaning proxy rexes are a little weaker than we're used to, and we have a real Zerg map on our hands here, fellers. Now, Byun is opening up with a Barracks Reaper this time, so I'm not too happy with the result of that last game's push, as it did absolutely nothing except just put him behind very late third base, of course. That's what you get if you play 2-gas Armory and a bunch of Hellions. Let's see what he has in store for us this time around. So it's going to be a Reaper Marine so far. Of course, an important tell is that second gas. Oh, second gas going to be taken or not? Because that second gas is going to be a big tell on what is going to be happening. You could be playing something like the Innovation 3cc, going straight into Bio, and Byun really is a Bio player, right? We don't see a lot of mech out of him, or at least in the past we haven't. And he was known, and is known, for his fantastic Marine micro, his Baneling targeting. Back then it felt like he was the only one. Nowadays a lot of Terrans, of course, are very good at those Baneling targets. So perhaps he stands out a little less, but don't forget he still has absolutely fantastic micro. Sadly couldn't really be showcased that last game, as I feel like the deficit he was playing from under was too hard. Yeah, here we go. Lack of a second gas indicating that fast CC. Now there's a couple of things from which the Zerg can read this from. One of the things is a lack of a depot on the ramp for quite some time. Now you might be wondering, well, why is that the case? Very simple, because if you're playing this build, your CC will provide the supply that usually you would need a depot on the ramp for. So if a Zerg player is good, usually they send a ling up and they check for depots, that type of stuff. Sometimes you can also see it of the Hellion timing, because you need to delay either your Hellions or the starport. He actually decided to not build a starport at all, which means he can also delay the second gas even further. Usually that second gas goes down at around 3 minutes and 10 seconds in game, but that's not the case here. So this is actually slightly different than what Innovation tends to play. This is going to be more economical. The moment you delay gas, you're going to have a better economy, because mineral always is the limiting factor for increasing your economy. So the longer you can delay your gases, the better economically you have it, and the harder of a timing you can hit later on in the game. And that's so, oh my god, 4 cars into extra barracks already. Now Solar is going to be scouting here. He's going to be able to see that third CC as well. Could have seen this, of course, by, here we go, see, very late depot coming out of Byun. There's only 4 cars here. 2 will stay at home, at least temporarily. And you can't really do too much with this, honestly. There's 6 more links on the way. Stim being researched, as well as another reactor being built here by the factory, which I'm surprised. I guess we'll see double E-base even before the starport now, right? You'd almost have to, in my mind. We're gonna see a reactor first. Yes, reactor simultaneously with that starport. And then we're going to be seeing the E-base. That makes, of course, more sense. I'm not sure why I said we're going to see the E-base first. Because that starport timing and the Marine time you're going to hit is the most important thing. Now, 1-1 is not going to be finished for that. That's for sure. Combat Shield hopefully will be. I think it will be, because after we see the single upgrade or that single tech lab finish Stim, it's gonna start Combat Shield. Combat Shield takes a little less long than Stim. Now, the reason why Terrans always get only that single tech lab is because they want maximum marine production. If you just get that tech lab early enough, you're gonna be able to get Stim and combat before your medevacs are out. Byun's floating a lot of gas. This seems like I guess he'll need it, right? Combat, 1-1 and 2 medevacs. Altogether it's like somewhere around 500 gas. He's actually gonna be able to do that. I'm surprised his combat shield starts so late though. I thought he would need to do that faster. I don't think it's gonna be finished at all. Yeah, here we go. Medevac, combat shield, medevac. I guess is the build order for him. I wonder why he gets the 1-1 before the combat shield. I guess because they take longer, so he maybe wants to sync everything up like that. But his first push is gonna be without... I guess he can never finish combat shield for that first push. I might have mistimed that in my head. I don't think they ever have that for the first push. This is a really quick push, by the way, because he's also moving across the map. Doesn't need to waste any time with the medevacs picking up units. Should move straight across the map. Yes, there comes the boost. Reaper Hellion stays at home for now. And this is of course to stop any type of potential run by. So you're going, well, why doesn't he just use the Hellions for harassment? It's exactly for this. It's because this is so common whenever the Terran moves out. So this is Solar just poking. He sees the cars. Oh, good response here coming out of Byun. Is gonna lose nothing yet. Marines being stimmed forward. This was a good little trade here for Byun, who also has a bunch of units on the other side of the map. Are we gonna see some of those famous Baneling targets? No, we're not. Picks up, goes straight into the main base. Only a single queen in position there. This is gonna cost Solar at least a couple of zones. No, links are back in time. And with a good focus on that medevac, this little pressure should be over relatively soon. We have an armory on the way, in the wall. And now we're gonna see some decisions here being made. Like I said, we're either gonna see 6 gas or 5 gas, and then a 4th base, 2nd factory, or we're gonna be seeing those 8 racks, which aren't extremely uncommon on Pillars of Gold. 1-1 is about to finish up, by the way, here for Byun, and with combat shield finishing up as well, these Marines have a lot more power to them, a lot more oomph. We see more Marines rallying straight across the map. Hellions, where are they? Still staying home? No. Have they died? No. Hellbats are joining the push. We have 2 Hellbats. We have 1 mine in the back. Won't really come into play here. I can't believe, yes. Byun has similar beliefs as me. Pushes further forward, and this should be good for Solar, as he has plenty of units. 87 drones, by the way. Very high work count. We see he's on 7 gas, and he has a Hydra then, probably gonna go straight into lurkers here. With that 81 workers, loses a couple here. As Byun keeps abusing this position and then dropping into the main, and then goes back down and dropping into the main. Good target fire on those Banes. Misses one, doesn't quite connect with the Marines though. I think Solar might be in a little bit of trouble here actually. All of a sudden he just drops and he's like, wait a second. If your Banelings don't connect, you're gonna be in a... Oh my god, that was brilliant target fire. Kills the final 2 Banelings. Queen slightly out of position, will be able to clean up those medevacs, I think, eventually. A couple of Marines get dropped on the high ground. Not gonna be able to do too much though. More Marines streaming in. Mines, marauders. This is just a straight rally push, and Solar was not ready for that. You just saw those Marines just being sent across the map again and again here. Just straight rally, nothing at home for defense. Usually they rally towards this depot, but not the case this time, and Solar just died under the pressure. So 1-1 is the score. Let's hop into game number 3. Alrighty, game number 3 here on Romanticide. In the bottom right we have Solar, and Byun in the top left, of course. I feel like they swapped colors once or twice this series, and it's annoying me. I wish there was a way for me to select their colors, and they always stay the same. I don't want any change. Solar just gonna be sending his overlords across map. I don't think Byun has ever been much of a proxier, honestly. Like, not a proxy rector, so I'm surprised to see Solar be so diligent in scouting around for those proxies with these overlords, not sending his first overlord straight across the map. Of course, tends to be the normal play, especially if you play against someone like Maru or Innovation, these guys that absolutely love the proxy, Bunny, Dream. But with Byun, I always had the feeling he wasn't much of a proxier, so I'm surprised to see it. Spawning pool finishes up, and we're gonna see what the path is that Solar will take here. As we have the first Reaper coming out here for Byun. As I accidentally select the unbuildable plate rather than the Reaper. It's the wrong thing to focus on. So we have this Reaper just moving out for now. See if it's gonna get... I mean, usually these Reapers get nothing done. We see a second gas, by the way, here, coming out of Byun very quickly. So gonna be some heavier attack. Could be Banshee, could be something like 8 Hellion or 6 Hellion Liberator. First drone gets pulled. Actually in an aggressive motion there, you saw it? Went straight towards the Reaper rather than running away. So I was like, this is it, I've had enough. Been battered around too much. It's time for me to take control of my life and start attacking the Reaper. Of course, if he has the Zergling brothers with him, that's a fine play. We see very careful as well with that first tumor being put very far back at a very delayed timing. 17, 18, 19, 20 energy already. I think he built it at 15 or 16 energy saved up. So a little bit delay there on the creep spread, and also it being put further back means that the creep spread is going to be even further delayed. Now, Queen does end up popping, of course, as it always does. Solar walking into a supply block here. This would be a very painful supply block. I don't think you're supposed to... Yeah, I think he forgot his Overlord. Oi. I mean, this Overlord's gonna be in time for the inject, but there's gonna be a couple of larvae just waiting for a bit. So this is gonna cost him 30-40 minerals. As we see, now that the larvae do pop, these two queens are being put forward. Third queen finishes, we'll use an inject. We have another queen on the way on this hatchery, so two hatcheries just absolutely... Ooh! I missed this. Fusion core. That can only be two things. Either it's going to be battle cruiser, or it's going to be liberator range. Really, well, it's medevac speed, I guess, in theory, but yeah, it's going to be battle cruiser, of course. Not completely uncommon in this matchup, so we're going to be seeing 6 Hellions. And this is the moment of truth, really, for me, where if we're going to see... I mean, we don't have a tech lab on here, so this is most likely just going to be mech, right? It has to be. Does he cut Hellions for much longer? The Overlord actually spotted it. Boys having a little chat. I was like, what are they talking about? I wasn't paying attention. Classic Byun battle. I don't understand that, but... Oh, this is a big run by. This is a massive run by. Okay, we actually have some barracks on the way, so it's not going to be mech, just 6 cars. One car gets taken out as he was left behind. Sacrifice to the Zerg. Oh my god, this is really bad. Oh, this is terrible. As that CC finishes up, there's nothing here to defend against these links right now. Oh, this is really, really painful. CC is going to be rebuilt, but of course this is not what you want as a Terran. You want the command center to be done ASAP. Also losing a lot of mining time, especially on that mule. That is painful. Meanwhile, we have this battle cruiser barely doing any damage. Kills a single worker. Spire here for Solar. There's a baling nest on the way as well. I'm not quite sure if that's gonna be it. Spire, baling nest, double evo. What was that? Started a reactor, then decided to go into tanks anyway. That's another barracks. We have some SCV production, very little gas income. 1-1 on the way here. 5th barracks should go down soon as well. Never really see just 4 barracks. The way to go usually is 358 or 357. When it comes to barracks number and the way you build them. 4 barracks is really uncommon. But perhaps Byun is onto something here, as we have finally that 3rd CC finishing up. It's very late, 69. Nice. Workers already done here for Solar. No fort base though. Not even an attempt at a fort base, which is something that does surprise me a little bit. I mean, we're pretty late into the game. I wouldn't have minded seeing a fort. Battlecruiser comes back in without Yamato though. It's gonna get just 2 workers. Won't even be able to kill this queen. Gets this Overlord, which is nice. That actually is nice. I do enjoy that. 5 Hellions. Does he have teleport? Yes, it should teleport home. No need to get any more damage if you're not going to be able to kill anything. So with some repair, this battle cruiser will be a fine soldier once again. Should be able to help at least zone these mutas out a little bit. Probably doesn't really want to take any big fights. Hellions should just get taken out by the Mutalisk, right? Yeah. I was thinking this seems like a suicide mission here for the Hellions. I think Byun is realizing just that. No, it doesn't move it back quite far enough. It's going to lose 2 Hellions at least here. Yeah, 2 Hellions instantly go down, so does the Reaper. The rest of the Hellions just run straight into the Hellfire. Well, the Lynx, not quite the Hellfire. The Lynx ran straight into the Hellfire. Armory on the way, a little bit late perhaps. This 1-1 finishes up. It's going to be 10-15 seconds delayed to 2 upgrades. Here comes the factory after that 5 racks. This seems to be the plan so far for Byun, but so far we haven't really seen it in action yet, because he either lost too quick or he won too fast. Really the problem. Okay, the high level Terran is winning too quickly. Can't even get to use the second factory. At that third base, of course, and what he's going to be doing with that is going to build a reactor there and most likely start producing mines. Drilling claws will start on this tech lab. And then perhaps we'll see some drilling claws drop, but mainly they're going to be used in the army. I'm surprised we're seeing continued tank production. A lot of the time when Mutalisk are out, we see Terrans kind of stop the tank production altogether. This 1-1 does end up finishing up here for Solar, who is up 34 supply. And Byun just trying to deny a little bit of creep, a little bit at a time. Gotta be able to get a Muta. No! Oh my god, what was that? 1 HP? I think it had 1 HP. Another one with very low HP. Transfuse being used. Good Overlord spread coming out of Solar. It's like, alright, this is the last time this happened. You can't just sneak in. And at this point, the battle cruiser is gonna act as a very expensive Phoenix. It's just gonna try to push away Overlords and maybe kill a drone, but honestly seems rather unlikely. Rocks are being taken down here. 2-2 is on the way for both players. Double Tor. I got that call completely wrong. This is extremely uncommon though, so I won't blame myself for being wrong. We almost... This sensor tower is absolutely perfect for Muta harass. Yeah, the reason we don't see pure Tor a lot is because, don't get me wrong, Thor is good, but they don't do much to deal with the many Banelings. You really do need mines for that. At least in my mind, from what I've seen, is that mines really are the way to deal with higher Baneling counts. Just that splash damage. That Thor, sure, they're going to be able to deal with the Mutalisk, but in theory, so do Marines. Marines can kill Mutalisk just fine. The problem is that without mines, usually you can't even ever attack the Mutalisk. Now, of course, having a couple of Thors in your army is that he's getting more tanks. Okay, now you're losing me completely. I guess he's just gonna go full turtle mode, hey? That's the plan for now. Not dying. I guess he is in a pretty decent deficit here, and Solar is trying to make things work, but does he really need to if he's up 2? I mean, he's 5-6 base here against a guy that's just saturating his fort. The income is actually relatively even. Well, it surprised me how much Terran can get, but the gas income is way bigger here for Solar. Now, one problem that Solar might run into is the difficulty to actually get one base more than his opponent, because this is not an easy map for that scenario. I guess this base potentially, so you take both the corner bases, but this base is so close to this. Like, once this gets taken as a 5th, I don't see this base being too viable anymore. Like, a tank can shoot from his 5th into what would be Solar's 9th base, I guess. Here comes a run by, or well, basically an entire attack. This is more than just a run by. This is just a straight up attack. 2 tanks are gonna fall. 1 tank fell before already. Bunch of Marines go down as well. Decent trade work for Solar, who also runs into the fort base, which isn't even a planetary. So 2 command centers. No, it's just 1 command center that is on the production tab twice. Should not fall though. So far these stores really are just for zoning out the Mutalisk harass. Sometimes it feels like if Terran doesn't want to die, they just won't die. And right now it feels like Byun just doesn't want to die. But he's not really getting anything done. Oh my god, are you joking? 4 mutas die instantly, as I say, he's not getting anything done. Expensive little loss there for Solar. 800 resources down the drain. It's not what you want. Resource loss so far. Slightly in favor of Byun, but that's going to change here. As a couple of these Marines are just going to get picked up for free. We have another run by, and I'm going to pick up the sensor tower one more time. These Marines are going to go down. Thor's coming in to help as well. 10 workers are going down. 12 workers went down. As a couple of Mutalisk also went down already now. I think he might actually get 1 or 2 more. Gets 1 more. It's around 9 Mutalisk lost so far. And this is kind of what Solar wants to do. He wants to constantly be trading army on a very high economy. As you see, he's outmining his opponent. And then he wants to trade, not necessarily cost efficient. Like, he can be down a bit. It can be terrible fights, but it can be worse fights. And then he just keeps expanding, mining more. And if he keeps trading again and again and again, semi-cost efficiently, hopefully the Bank of Byun eventually will run out. And Byun will roll over. Now there's Ultras here, which do make these fights more cost effective, but still attacking into a 4-base Terran who is seemingly only producing tanks and ghosts seems kind of difficult. It does seem pretty tricky. I mean, we're seeing more banelings. Do we have any infestor upgrades yet? No. 3-3 is almost done here for Solar. Here come the 2 Ultralisk moving into sensor tower range here. Ghost, are we ready? No, we're not. Mutalisk coming in, and here comes a massive attack on this 4th base once again. 15, 16, 17, 18 workers going down. Perhaps a couple of Banes in here would and could do some work, but you see, this is what I'm talking about right now. Supply difference of about 20, 30 supply. We still have a massive bank for Zerg. I think that was a good fight. No, it wasn't. It was about a... Yeah, it was a good fight. Cost efficient for Zerg is a good fight. 28 workers went down, so we're going to need to see some of these workers rebuild. Byun's income is so little right now. 1700 minerals a minute. A couple of mules will rain from the sky. I mean, this is what, 7 mules. Yeah, look at the income spike right now. It's very important that this income spike does not get interrupted by banelings. If it does, I am starting to worry for Byun here. Look at this. 3-5, 3, 3-4, 3-5. We saw some peaks there. Right now just floating around, yeah, 3-2, 3-3. That's big income right there. I'm only 60 workers. So this army is going to be actually massive right now. He's up 20 army supply. And he still has 8 supply to fill. So it's going to be up about 30 army supply. Now, don't be fooled, as the army of Solar is just banelings, and these guys are not cost efficient, but extremely supply efficient. One baneling, of course, only being half a supply. So I think he's gonna be fine in the fights, and I finally understand why this is an orbital, so that he can lift it every time against these baneling run-bys. He doesn't need to keep rebuilding these bases time after time. Once again, we see a bunch of workers falling immediately. This fight was a little bit worse, I believe, for Solar. Yes, look at that. A 4K fight, truly. A fight that put him 4K in the minus. And that's painful. That really is quite painful. 84 more links on the way, 19 banelings, as well as +3 attack on the flyer. I like that Solar just keeps going. Second Spire, so perhaps he wants to get greater Spire and continue carapace upgrades at the same time. We see Solar just taking every base on the map right now. And this base, I think this base is just, here you go, buddy. You want a turtle, I take the base right next to you. But this is the important one. If Solar gets this base and mines it out, and mines out this base, it's basically a 1 game for him. Now here we go again, Solar pushing in. Ultralisk leading the charge. See a couple of snipes? No. Ghosts need to run back as the banelings are moving in at rapid speed. There's no mines whatsoever, and this was not a great fight for Byun. Sure, once again, a fight that was cost effective for him, even only by 1,000 resources this time, but I think Solar just has a way greater capacity of remaxing right now. We see Byun is running really extremely low on mineral patches. He has 1 left in his natural. There's about 6, 7 left. A couple will fall soon on this 3rd base, and of course here we still have full mineral patches left. 53 workers, so even though Solar is maxed right now and Byun is only at 157 supply, the army supplies are actually even, dead even, 106 against 106. I think if Byun managed to max out 1 more time and he can start denying these left side bases, and take another one for himself, he might have a little bit of a chance, because the Bank of Solar is largely gone as well. His last few fights have been less cost effective, which is painful, but on the other hand, Byun doesn't have an extra base right now, and we can see it in the mining. 2k a minute. How many orbitals do we have? We're on 6 orbitals right now. So the moment a new base gets established, a bunch of mules will start raining from the sky, and we'll start mining it like their life depends on it. I don't like him taking this base for the simple reason that it isn't putting enough pressure on this key base here. You're never going to be able to deny this one. It's impossible being Byun. But this bottom left, there's some potential. If you take out this, you get a planetary up here. You have an anchor point which you can fall back on. Now once again, beautiful run by being set up here by Solar, who's gonna just go in 2 sides at the same time, and this is looking very, very bad here for Byun. Good snipes coming down though. Loses a lot of workers. 27 workers going down, and sometimes you say, well, if you kill your opponent's workers, it means his army is gonna keep growing, but right now there's only 27 workers left. This is gonna be a planetary, I believe. Otherwise, I don't understand why these two swapped. 157 supply, 500 income right now for Byun. That's 8 marines, 10 marines a minute. It's gonna be a rough task here for him as Solar continues mining. 3.5k a minute, has an insane gas income as well, has a pretty decent bank. So not only is he maxed, he also has a way bigger bank than his opponent. Army supply in favor of Byun, but without any mines, it feels like these fights are just not going his way. I'm not sure if mines is the answer, but it feels like the tanks are just not cutting it. In these straight up engagements where Solar decides to just sack a big portion of his army. What's the ghost count right now? We have 10 ghosts, we have pathogen glands, there we go. I forgot the name for a second. Pathogen glands, no infestors on the map yet though. None in production either. Here comes Solar once again. I mean, this is looking very rough. We have just a Ling run by here at that port base. We have 29 workers remaining. This is looking very bad. Good snipes though. It's gonna take down a bunch of those muralisks. We see fights going in favor of Byun still, even though his supply is so little. As long as his army supply stays semi-decent, he can take okay fights. Really the problem being the massive difference in income right now. I wish I knew how to open income graphs, but I don't know how to. I didn't learn that in high school, like some other people. So we're just gonna have to do with me telling you that for real, Solar has been mining a lot more. Right now, outmining his opponent by about 10 times as much. At least when it comes to the minerals. Gas relatively even. This base is gonna die to these muralisks. I do believe Ultras, Banes and Lings move forward. Muralisk right click that command center, and this is going to be it. That's Byun calls GG and Solar wins the series 2-1. I hope you all did enjoy that beautiful series as we have the Zerg logo, Solar winning behind me. If you did like it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Likes and more videos over here. Thanks all for watching. Bye bye.